As we're Breach Guide for Fracture, we're going to start on defense. I'm going to talk about really quickly the way that the map is kind of played in very, very briefly, which is essentially attack and defense are flipped, where attack is going to be quite defensive, holding angles and taking pockets of space before then they can actually get onto the site, right? Because these pockets of space aren't obviously the site, right? So it takes a long time for the attacking team to actually get to the site to execute it. So rushes don't tend to be quite that good because the enemy team, the defensive team, have a lot of time to rotate. So it tends to be better to play slower and to take this space like quite methodically. And on a defense, it makes sense to take this space away from the enemy and to make it harder for them to actually walk into sites. And essentially just take the fights out of the site. So then they have to use more util to take these pockets of space, and then they have less util to take the actual site itself or for post plant. So that's the idea for attack and defense on this map. So a lot of the time on defense for Breach, we're going to want to do something and be a bit more proactive as the initiator. So full lines like this to help our team sort of fight for A main. Flashes like this also are quite good. And the reason why I do it like this is because there's actually a beam here. And this beam stops our teammates from being flashed. There's also this flash as well, which is still not patched, by the way. I'm pretty sure it's a bug. It's not intended. I'm like 90% certain, 99% certain it's not intended. But you can flash through here onto this corner. And it flashes like this. It won't flash your teammates because it flashes around the corner. And it's actually a pretty good flash, but for some reason it just hasn't been like nerfed, or not nerfed, but like patched for some reason. Full line, so Aftershock will also work here as well. And it does get the corner over here, so if there's a way that you can set that up with like your ult or a fault line, then it might be quite good. But yeah, that's kind of it for A main realistically. You can try and retake A main with like your ult or maybe like Aftershock on the door or something, a flash on the door, like this type of stuff. But I wouldn't recommend trying to retake A main. It can be a bit awkward. There are times where it's good though if your teammates are coming from A main. It's just about your synergy with them, or like orchestrating that actual retake of A main. But it can be quite good, especially if you've got ult. I think ult is like the main reason why you would want to do this. Next we go over onto Dish, and on Dish, I don't particularly like it for Breach. It's not great. There are like there's like this support stun you can do, which is okay. And then you've also got this flash, which is also okay. But for the most part, you don't do too much here. It's not great. I wouldn't flash on the Dish. The reason why is because I've noticed a couple times you can accidentally like flash behind this plate and it will not flash. You can flash behind this like over here if you do a low flash and it won't flash. So you got to be careful of like where you actually flash to actually get the actual flash to go off. So you want to be careful with the Dish. Sometimes like if you're just doing it on the fly, you're not actually doing a specific position on the Dish, it cannot flash them. So I'd recommend just doing it on the wall just because it's more consistent. And that's kind of it, honestly, for A site defense. You should never really be playing site as Breach. There's not really any good things you can do because you don't really have any ways to help yourself off the site or to like uncommit yourself to the site in that way, where like Cypher can use cages, Viper can use orbs, Jet can dash away, Raze can satchel away, Yoru chamber DPs away, like that kind of stuff. You don't really have any access to those tools. So it doesn't make sense for you to be on the site defending, especially because on Fracture, it's not really a good idea. You generally want to be in one of these extremities over here, rather than actually on the site. For retake, your ult has pretty good coverage. So you can like fully cover like this, which is really good. There's also this stun over here for the back site of A, like over here. You can also do an Aftershock for it too. And usually it usually forces them out for a fight like this. So you should get a fight if there's someone there. And that's basically it. Make sure as well, if you're doing this Aftershock, make sure you don't aim too low, make sure you don't aim too high, because this one will actually hit both high and low, so you want to make sure you do it like in the center. I'm pretty sure you probably already know that already. Flashes off this as well to commit a smoke here.
Right there.
It can be quite good. You can also do it deep as well, but just be careful people aren't pushed up on you through the smoke. But yeah, that's kind of it for retaking, really. So yeah, all the rest of the time you're going to be like improvising your flash or just throwing your flash in a way that makes sense for the context of the game you're in. And that's it for A. Next is B. And on B, I think the most obvious thing is bench over here. And then we'll talk about A main. So on bench, you can do this type of stun. You can also do a flash on this wall. Both of these can work for helping your teammates take bench. You can also do an ult like this. I wouldn't recommend that one. I would actually recommend you walk up and you ult like this. Because then it's more likely to catch people that are like playing a bit more slow and a bit more Yeah, just a bit more slow. And this tends to happen a lot on bench for like Cypher players or maybe more Lurk type players. They're going to play slower and they might actually get hit by this, or at the very least try and run out of it and potentially give you info for your team. Especially good if you have like a Neon or a Raze or someone that can get into the face of the enemy quite quickly as well. So they can actually punish someone running away from this ult, or just getting hit by the ult in general. It's kind of the same with this ult over here on A, which I forgot to mention, where you can ult like this, right? And yeah, you just need someone like a Neon ult or a Raze with rockets or something to actually punish the players that you're going to stun there. Exactly the same premise over here as well. Next is B main, and on B main, this is probably the place where if your teammates, if your duelists aren't giving you much, because generally on Breach, what I do is I will follow around my duelists and support them. If they aren't doing a good job, then, or like, yeah, if something's going wrong and it's just not working, you can stop playing for yourself and generally play on B with Breach on B main, because you generally have a very good position here because of this stun. So this stun is pretty good because not only does it hit the orb, and you can like stun off the orb and shoot the players that are going to take the orb, but you can also punish players with like things like Aftershock over here as well. So you can stun into Aftershock or Aftershock into stun, and that will work very well. And if they try to get out, you can obviously swing them like this. You can do a flash like this and swing. You should be able to get some nice kills there. The one thing with this is that you need to communicate to your controller that you do not want the smoke here. No smoke here. You want the smoke either here or not at all. And so not at all would be that you want to punish the orb. If you want the smoke deep, it's because you want to punish the close players. And that's kind of it for the way that you can play B, I think. You can also ult here as well, especially if they're like trying to be a bit more aggressive on you. Then you can try and ult and then push them back a bit more, and then you can punish them for that. And that's kind of it for holding B. You can also, so actually wait, it's not actually it, because we also have this area as well. So I would generally recommend flashing more than stunning here. I would also make sure your stun, so your flash goes on this side of the box as well, rather than this side of the box. If you're going to do this this flash, you can also do a flash on top like this. Do a flash through this part of the wall as well. I wouldn't stun. The reason why you don't want to stun, even though this line is actually quite good, this line here, it's like any players that tried to scale this way will get stunned and won't be able to help their teammates fight. You're not necessarily helping your teammate in B main actually fight the angle that they want to fight, which is generally going to be this angle here. So you can stun like this, like on this angle. Your stun would land there. They wouldn't get stunned here. You can stun there, but for the most part, it's difficult to... it's more likely that you're not going to get any value with this one because they'll just dodge it and then they'll fight afterwards. So be careful with that, because the flash is a lot more... is a lot less dodgeable, and your teammate's more likely to punish the enemy with the flash rather than with the stun that you're going to do. But yeah, that's it. And you can also ult as well, as I've already mentioned. Ult also is completely fine. If you're actually going to push into the space, like if you have a Neon, a Raze, I've already mentioned, they're really good pairings with these aggressive type ults that you can do. But yeah, obviously it all requires the communication. Next is the retake of B. And you have really good aftershocks on the retake of B. You have like that one there. I wish they would let me do them like without having to wait for the first one to go off. You can do one there as well. Make sure you go on like this right side, because then it actually hits everything. If you go too far deep like this, you run the risk of this happening, or this, where they can, well, more so this, where they can actually like hide from you and the aftershock. So you want to be careful. You want to make sure you always go on the right side of this wall. You can also do one like this as well, which goes to like this. And what it does is if someone is coming into sight on your team, it forces them into the doorway like this, so they're more likely going to be taking a fight, or they're going to be back here and not able to help their team or something. So the aftershock is also quite useful there too. Your ult once again has good coverage. You can see like on the map how good the coverage actually is with your ult here. You basically get everything you need to get. You can also follow it up with an aftershock like this that stops the tower players from like coming back in after the ult. They may even get stunned by the ult because they're trying to like timing it with the aftershock, so they don't want to get hit by the aftershock, so they get hit by the stun instead. So it actually is quite good to follow up like that. And there's also flashes as well. You can do like this. Honestly, basically wherever you've aftershocked is also good flashes. You can flash in tower. You can flash in tower like this too. You have plenty of good options for the retake on Breach for B. So I think that's basically it for defense, and we'll move on to attack. Okay, so on attack, we'll start with a main. And generally when we're trying to attack somewhere or like do some set util, we need to kind of know where the enemy's going to play. And a really general place that anyone plays on Fracture defense is over here, right? A duelist likes to play in that sort of area a lot of the time, or chamber. So stunning it is pretty good. You can also do flashes like this, and one like this also works too. You can do it from this corner too. And the general reason why we want to put it in this corner is because it stops our teammates from getting flashed by it, right? They can't get flashed around this corner. You can also do the flash like this, or you can do an aftershock like this as well. And it will just stop the enemy from running away. It may even catch a chamber rendezvous over here or something as well. You can even do it deeper like this, which may catch a rendezvous as well, because sometimes they'll put the rendezvous here. So you might be able to catch that if you're against chamber. But yeah, this flash as well, it only hits them if they're against the back wall, like this. If they're not against the back wall, if they're in the close angle like this, it probably won't hit them. It'll do like a half flash. It won't properly hit them. So you want to be careful of that. You can ult as well, potentially, if you know they play a lot of players towards it, or if you really need the ult to kind of get onto site, to like take the space, then get onto site. Because generally, ulting A site doesn't really do that much, because there's not usually a player on A site that much, or like committed in that way. There can be, for sure, but not always. So you just need to make sure you pick like a good round to ult A main rather than A site. But that's probably the only extremity I would say, like out of these four, like Hall, Dish, A main, Dish, B main, and B bench, or like B arcade. Out of all these extremities, I think A main is the most likely one that you would ult. Just simply as well because I think on A site you generally get less ult value anyway. Other than that, you can do stuns like when you get towards A site. You can do stuns like this on these types of angles here, because these angles will be more played, like this angle on up here as well. You can also do flashes on this wall, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I would do flashes on this wall instead. And the reason for that is because the support player is going to be over here. They're going to be in these types of angles, like this or like this. Maybe potentially Dish if you don't have Dish, and they're going to get flashed by this flash. So I would do that flash. You can even do it a bit deeper as well if you do have the safety to do it deeper, like on this corner as well. Just be careful if someone is in this corner, they won't get flashed. But yeah. That's kind of how I would take A. Obviously, you can ult A. I did just mention that it's probably not best to compared to A main, but you can ult A if it is required for the round, if that's what you think. You can also do, for like retake stuff, you can also do ults like this that will stop the enemy team from getting in and all that kind of thing. Yeah, the ult honestly is really, really good on this map. Other things for retake as well could be fault lines like this and fault lines like this. You can just flash off this wall. Yeah, you can do an aftershock like this as well. Just be careful you don't get like you're not exposing yourself to any angles. But yeah, that should hit everything. Other than that, you can go play over here. There is an aftershock you can do here that does hit the bomb. You just need to make sure you hit it right on the corner, and then it will actually hit the bomb. It might not be very easy to line up like that though, because obviously there's probably going to be an enemy on the bomb, so it's going to be hard for you to like properly line it up. So be careful of that. You might need some practice. You can flash on this wall as well for the post. You can also fault line the bomb for post as well. And that's kind of it for post plant on A. For Dish, attacking Dish is just as simple as flashing. Basically, you can also fault line if you really want to as well. Especially early on in the round, I think it's good to use the fault line, commit a fault line to like take in this taking space because of its cooldown. So yeah. That's basically it for Dish and for A in general. So now we move on over onto B, and we'll talk about Arcade, because I think Arcade is actually a better place in general for attacking B. You get things like this fault line here. So if you have someone like an updraft, if you have like a jet for an updraft, or raise satchels, then you can allow them to take tower really easily with the fault line, like this. And then you would follow up with a flash, maybe like this or something. The reason why you would follow up with this flash is because if someone's in this place, it's going to make the fights easier for your teammates to go in. You can also aftershock as well, like this type of thing as well. If you're playing a bit more slow, you can aftershock this as well before you even peek it. So it either forces them to peek into the angle like this, or to run away, and makes it easier for you to actually attack into Arcade. And that's kind of it for like specifically Arcade. You can also maybe get a kill on someone here as well by doing stuff like this, where they might be cut off guard in this corner. Generally, people don't sit in this corner, though. They usually sit in this corner if they have given up Arcade and people are, like, right up in their face like this. So if your teammates, like, duelists, are, like, up here somewhere, you might be able to get a kill by doing this. Maybe not even you getting the kill, but just forcing someone through this angle like this might be enough for them to get a kill. If your teammate maybe push this smoke, or maybe it's not smoked, things like that. For the ult, you can do one, like, for B site. it is actually quite good. The coverage is decent. Like, it gets all of B site and tower, so it can be quite good. Just be careful that there's no one close, or like someone that can like just about see your arm from this angle or something when you do it. You are safe where I'm actually standing, so yeah, just try and stand still. But if you press forward, you might expose yourself to a bad angle. There's also this flash, sorry, this ult as well, which is like this. You can also do it the other way. So if you have someone like a Neon, like a Raze, this is probably one that you can do for like Raze Rocket or something to like chase down kills. It's pretty good, I think, actually. Now we'll talk about B main real quick, which is basically you want to make sure you dodge the initial like aggression from the enemy team that may have here. You can do that by flashing as well. You can help your team by flashing this. You can stun this as well. We're very rarely ulted to Aftershock, and then you can move on. If there's anyone like with like a Skye or something, then you can like hear out for a dog as well. This goes for in general, right? You can hear out for dog and just try and punish them with an Aftershock stun. Things like that are pretty strong, especially as well. I think Tayo as well. Tayo is going to get played on this map a lot because Tayo gets played a lot in general. So if you do hear like the drone coming out, you can try and look for a kill here. It's probably the best place to do it generally, because usually the other places don't really have that opportunity, but this one's probably the more likely opportunity to actually get the kill on the Tayo. And that's pretty much it for attacking B. You can do Aftershock like this, sorry, Aftershock full line like this. You can also Aftershock like this on the dice. You can also just full line the dice as well for your team. And that's pretty much it for taking B. So for post plant, generally, you can also do like this. You can kind of play in the same position as I told you to play in defense. If you think there's going to be like flanks and stuff, that could be a potential play. Yeah, so other than that, I would try and play towards tower, because this wall is really beneficial for you. You can use it to contest like this type of plant, like the dice plant. You can use it to flash with. It's really, really strong this way. The fault line for this as well lines up nicely, because it gives you just a nice distance where you can catch someone on the actual spike defuse. Unfortunately, the Aftershock is kind of useless in that situation though. Like, this doesn't really do anything. So you want to be careful. If it is planted here, you have Aftershock up and you want to use it. You might want to try and put yourself in like a main position or something for the Aftershock, but it may put you in a bad position when it comes to like actually getting round and fighting for the bomb afterwards. So you would be careful about playing main when it's planted here, even if you do have Aftershock, because even though you might get a nice Aftershock, you might not get a very easy fight afterwards with the way you're positioned. So you want to be careful of that as well. Alternatively, you can play towards heaven and like walk around and then Aftershock like this. That also works too. If you want as well, if you're in a 1v1 and you don't really have to worry about too much, like, you know, they're on site, you can even do like the Aftershock like this and rotate all the way around to then flash off the wall like this and full line. That also works too. Can be really strong. So that's it for my breach guide. If you think I've missed anything, or if you want to ask any questions, then please put them down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next one.